And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, my name's Tom Vasel, and today we're taking out a little suitcase game. This is from Henmar Games. I have actually several games from them. I ran into these guys at Essen, and they make little abstract games. Now, the games did not really call to me on how they look. But at the Dice Tower, we try not to review just all the big games, but small games too. And sometimes a game is like, that's interesting, that's amusing, let me try it out. And especially abstract strategy games, because I don't necessarily go on how much they look. I want to know how they play. Well, here's how this one plays. Okay, so you're putting out a 5x5 grid here of colored tiles. Now the color on these tiles doesn't matter at all. Now you can put up other configurations, like here's one in the rules. I really thought the color would matter. They told me at the convention that it might in a variant or something, but it's not in the rules. What matters is the color discs on these tiles. So on your turn, you're going to move this in a straight line until you hit a disc. So obviously the first person has 4 different discs that they can do. So let's say they decide to move here and take this pink disc. I move up here and take a green disc. They then move up here and take a blue disc. I move over here and take a green disc. Now, they are a little concerned because if you get 3 of the same color, you win. So they decide to take this green disc to stop me. I, of course, take this blue disc. I don't know why I said of course. I don't know that that's necessarily a good move. So they're going to take another pink disc here like this. And I'm going to take another blue disc. I now have 2 blues and 2 greens. So I'm feeling pretty good. They have 2 options. They can't really go to the yellow because if they do, I'll go to the blue and win. So they really only have one option, which is to go to the red. I only have one option now. I have to go to the red, which means, again, they can go to this red or this yellow. So they're thinking about it. They don't necessarily want to get trapped down here, so they go over to this red, which forces me to take a yellow. And because I'm forced to take a yellow, they can now go to a pink, which means they win the game. That's how fast the game is of this. And you can play best out of 3 if you want to play more. And like I said, you can use these other weird setups, which is going to move things around. And that's how you play. Weird here, right? I mean, you honestly could just play with the discs out here. I guess the squares keep the grid for you. And I think they made this square so that you could fit them all in this little box, which, by the way, this is cute, but it does, I mean, it's easily broken. And I don't know that I like this as a game thing. It's a funny little suitcase, but nah. Other than that, I mean, this is also kind of a colorblind person's nightmare. There's red and green. I don't know. I wish that there was... I mean, the game itself, we'll talk about how the game plays in a second, but the components, I like these backgrounds here, and these are actually not so shabby. I mean, I guess you could play that you put the color on the square that it goes on. That might work better, right? Like, so every green goes on one of these spaces, but there's not even enough greens to do that. So it's not even something that's really feasible to do. That would have probably helped more because then you could have looked at the background. So components are eh. Okay. I don't know that I can really highly recommend this because of the component thing. And, you know, this could have been a big board, you know, a board that's already there. I guess with the squares, you can make it any size board you want, but I think the colors are confusing. Every single time I teach this, I have to say those colors mean nothing. They're like, are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. They really mean nothing? Yeah, they really mean nothing. The game itself is not totally a new idea. I played games like this before where you move and collect things and you're forcing your opponent to move. It's a good idea though. It works. And in this game, it works pretty well. I'm amused by this one. You are essentially trying to look a couple moves ahead. If I move here, he has only those 2 options, and then he'll move there and go there. And it's fast, right? A real quick game, quick game, quick game. And so you can pull this out, set it up, and play it. So I really don't want to recommend it too strongly because the packaging is not useful and the game is not colorblind friendly and it's really kind of boring looking. But it's an amusing little abstract game. So if you see it in a shop somewhere, you want to grab one, I wouldn't think that's a bad idea. A fun little game, Pawn Shop, or I'm sorry, Pawn Stop. Dice Tower Judgment, an amusing little abstract game.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool Stuff in stock. Check them out at coolstuffinc.com.
Shut the door.